Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. What if I told you one of the biggest mistakes in retirement planning is one that most people are making? And if you make it, it could leave you broke when you need money the most. But here's the catch. It's not about saving more. It's about planning long enough. Most people are only planning for a retirement of 20 years or less. But here's the thing, people are living longer than ever. And if you shortchange yourself, that can leave you high and dry when you're older and vulnerable. A recent survey found that 64% of people are planning for a retirement of 20 years or less, and only 16% of people are preparing for a 30-year retirement. So let's talk about what it means to prepare for a long retirement, why this mistake is so common, and how you can avoid it. When we tend to discuss life expectancy, what comes to mind is that the typical person would have a life expectancy of anywhere from 70 to 80 years old, or 73.5 years for men and 79.3 years for women if we want to talk about exact figures. But those numbers themselves can be somewhat misleading. They come from the CDC and they're widely reported in the news, but they're calculated from birth. And what few people fail to account for is that life expectancy tends to increase with age. For instance, a man turning 70 this year can expect to live to the average age of 85. For a woman, that average age would be 87. This is known as longevity literacy, and if you understand it, it can help you safely plan for your golden years. If you fail to account for it, it can cost you dearly. Individuals with better longevity literacy do a better job planning and saving for retirement. There's a very strong link between longevity literacy and retirement outcomes. Inevitably, when it comes to discussing retirement and your savings and investments, you can end up asking yourself some trickier questions. The fun questions are like, how much do I want to have invested? What's a good goal number to hit? But inevitably, there's a natural spin-off of that, which becomes, how long do I think I'm going to live? A lot can go into this question. You can do the best you can to answer the best you can, but predominantly, the answer is really unknowable. It's really an X factor. For instance, knowing your family history can be helpful in all of this. In my family, we tend to have longevity on our side. My grandfather passed away at the age of 95. His goal was to hit 100. So unfortunately, he missed his goal, but we were blessed that he had 95 wonderfully healthy years. My grandma, she passed away just shy of her 90th birthday. So when I'm planning for my retirement, I tend to use a benchmark of 100. And of course, there's really no guarantees in any of this, but I don't think using 100 as a baseline is out of line. People are living longer and longer these days. It used to be an extraordinary and rare feat to live to be 100 years old. It's still an incredible feat, but it's become far more commonplace. Maybe someone can weigh in on this, but I distinctly remember my grandpa saying that he wanted to live to 100 because he believed that if you lived to 100, you got a handwritten letter from the president. I don't know if this was just a rumor, if there was any truth to it. I don't think it's something that would be done nowadays, but I am curious if anybody heard about this in the past. Back to the topic, if we're looking at 60-year-olds or 70-year-olds today, it's very likely that many of them are going to live to the age of 90 or beyond. It's very likely that a handful of them or many of them will become centenarians. If you're going to make errors when it comes to estimating your longevity, I would tend to err on the side of overestimation. So if you think you're going to live to the age of 85, I would build a financial plan that has you living until the age of 90. It's far worse to budget and spend as if you're going to live till 80 and then you live to 85 and you spend those last 5 years of your life living in a financial drought. Another thing I would like to add here is that sometimes I think it's really easy to have a distorted perception of age. I remember when I was 20, how far off something like 30 or 40 felt. And then you hit those ages and the reality of actually being those ages is nothing like what you thought it was going to be. And I say this is a common thing because I tend to make videos here on YouTube that discuss retirement from time to time, and inevitably in the comment section of every single one of those videos, I get comments saying that 50, 55, and 60 are incredibly old ages, and you won't have your health, and there's no reason to work a day past those ages. But I disagree with that. So what I would like to see are some comments from people who have sailed past those ages with grace and what their thoughts are. I feel like if we're fortunate enough to hang on to our health, your odds of feeling good at these ages is pretty darn good. You still have so much life ahead of you. There's still so much you're going to want to do, experiences you want to have, travels you want to take. I get a little saddened when I see these comments that people think life essentially becomes dreary at the age of 50, because I certainly don't think that. Maybe we could safely ask the question, how long is the typical retirement? Well, for men, the typical retirement lasts 18.6 years. For women, it's a little bit longer, coming in at 21.3 years. Seeing that a typical retirement is about 20 years, I think it's safe to say, for when it comes to planning purposes, that we should plan for at least a little bit more than 20 years in retirement. Now, a lot of factors do go into this. Like I said, you can look at your family history. It's not a perfect indicator, but an indicator nonetheless. The other thing you might want to consider is when you're actually planning on retiring. The earlier you plan on retiring, the more years you can plan on having in retirement. But if you're one of the people who tend to say, oh, I'll never retire in the traditional sense, I'll always work in one form or another, well, maybe you won't have that many years in retirement. With so many people underestimating how long their retirement is going to last, there's an easy way to fix this. It's an easy course correction. All you have to do is assume that you will live longer and budget accordingly. Now, how to fix this from a financial standpoint, you can always explore the option of trying to save a little bit more so you go into retirement with a bit more of a robust nest egg. You can explore the option of delaying when you start claiming Social Security, allowing your monthly benefit to increase. You could weigh the option of delaying your actual retirement date by a year or two. A year or two can have a profound difference on the type of retirement you can provide for yourself. That's 1 or 2 years not withdrawing from your portfolio. That's 1 or 2 years more that you're actually investing and building up your nest egg. That's 1 or 2 years that you're allowing your Social Security benefit to increase. Another really key strategy that can make a world of difference when it comes to your portfolio and your retirement is having a flexible withdrawal. If you're willing to withdraw less in the years where the market is experiencing a downturn, and then on the flip side, withdraw a little bit more in the years where the market is experiencing an upswing, you can increase the odds that your portfolio will last over time. Vanguard suggests what they call the dynamic withdrawal strategy, where you implement guardrails for following this type of withdrawal. And if you're interested in checking this out further, I have done a video on it and I will link it down below. Beyond that, I think you take so much pressure off your retirement needs if you have the ability to go into retirement debt-free. If you have a completely paid off home and go into retirement debt-free, I think that can take a huge burden off your shoulders. And I also think it has to be said, if you have children, hopefully by the time you're going into retirement, your children are at the point where they're entering into their own careers and they're able to support themselves. That can be a huge weight off your shoulders as well. So I really think the big key takeaway here is that if you're going to plan for your retirement, make sure you err on the side of caution and plan for a lengthy retirement. It's worse to come up short and then find yourself running out of money and then not knowing what to do. This doesn't mean you have to have an incredibly huge, robust nest egg. You can go into retirement with a modest nest egg so long as your expenses are on the lower side and you have a very well thought out financial strategy. I think it's far more dangerous to go into retirement, have planned for a very brief or short-lived retirement, and then find that you have longevity on your side and then outlive your money. That is a worse position to put yourself in. So my 2 cents here are save and invest as if you're going to have a long retirement. I hope you have a very long and healthy life, and if it just so happens that you saved more than you needed for retirement, well, you can always leave it to your loved ones or a cause that you care about. It is far better to overfund your retirement than it is to underfund it. Underfunding it comes with serious consequences. Overfunding it, not so much. So what are your thoughts? How long of a retirement are you planning on? Leave them in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Long enough. I don't think 4 should be in there. Hey guys, there is a spider on my camera. Eee! Ugh. That's when you need a man. Jeez, oh Pete, women aren't supposed to have to kill spiders. Hey, blah, why am I going backwards? I already did the hey guys. Moving forward. You had a little stutter and I can't start. I'm just stuck. Can be incredible. One can weigh on what life is like. I don't like that. Fortunate, good. Don't know where I wanted to go with that. Even at these ages, no, don't say that. Nope. You can delay retirement. Financial robust nest egg. I can't, that was terrible. One or two. That's winner. That's you for coming out. Vanguard, I don't know what I wanna say. And exhuming, what the frick? Oh no. Well, that just will not do, will it? Getting lazy here at the end of the day. Life,